Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me. Hello and welcome to a special interview for The Wire. With the crisis in Manipur approaching the 75-day mark and no end in sight, we asked, what are conditions like? What is life like for the ordinary people of the Meitei and Kuki community? They, after all, are the ones who are suffering. And secondly, we asked, what steps would they like taken so they can at least start to hope for a normal life? Next week, I hope we can present a Meitei perspective, but today a view from within the Kuki community. My guest is the scholar, social activist, and former Congress candidate in Manipur elections, Lamtinthang Haukip. Dr. Haukip, although you're speaking to me from Guwahati, you've driven there from the southern hills of the Kangpokpi district of Manipur. And for the sake of the audience, I'll point out that Kangpokpi is a major area where Kukis live. Could you start by telling me what are conditions for the Kuki like in Kangpokpi at the moment?
First and foremost, Karan, thank you so much for having me. Let me go straight to your queries and questions. The situation in Kangpokpi district in particular looks like grim and hopeless. The people are suffering. Those people, children, women in the relief camps are suffering due to health conditions, due to insufficient of essential commodities and whatnot. So believe me, the situation is so grim and so hopeless, and people are looking for a way out, but we have no choice but to suffer for now.
Tell me, are there any Meitei anywhere around you? Or has complete segregation, both demographic and geographical, happened?
Well, specific to Kangpokpi and to all the entire Kuki-dominated areas, no Meiteis were there in the hills, no Kukis in the valley. We are separated emotionally, physically, geographically, demographically.
Before the troubles happened on the 3rd of May, were Meitei living near you in Kangpokpi?
Yes, just close by, just a meter away from my hometown. They were there.
And they've now fled?
Yes.
So Kangpokpi is today 100% Kuki only?
100% Kuki dominated, but there are few other tribal communities like Nagas and also some Golkhas.
But the truth is that today in Manipur, there are no Kukis in the valley and there are no Meitei in the hills. That is the truth, isn't
That's
it?
Right. That's right. That's right.
Now, last week, the well-known Meitei singer, Jayanta Lukrakpam, better known by his stage name Tapta, who I believe is also, or at least used to be also popular with the Kuki, released a song with the following lyrics. I'm quoting, "We will never have peace until every Kuki is killed. Once the army releases their grip, the Kukis will be eliminated. Even if peace returns, Meiteis will not stop this war." Tell me, when this song came out, what impact did it have on you and other Kukis like you?
That's outrageous, I should say. In fact, current, I respect artists whose community they may belong because they are meant to give hopes through their expressions in the form of arts, and but not in this case of Mr. Jayanta Laurappa, who is popularly known as Tapta. I'm very fond of him, but unfortunately, it is rather unfortunate. The agenda of Rambai Tengol has reached to its height through his songs. And in fact, this is not just even a song. Karan, this is not just even a song, but unleashing, just mark my word, this is not just an even a song, but unleashing of hate propaganda with just some tunes and music, with just tunes and music. This is not a song. This
But
is
you said,
unleashing of hate and hatred.
but you said that you were once upon a time very fond of Tapta. You were a fan of Tapta's.
Definitely, that's right.
Does he have many Kuki fans, or did he have many Kuki
Of
fans?
course, yes. There are lots of people, young and old, they're fond of his songs and his presentations in the platforms and any other musical nights. There are sorts of people in the Imphal Valley who used to attend his programs and his functions.
So today, what do they feel like when someone who they considered a star, someone who they considered
They
a
will,
fan,
they will feel so sorry about this. They will feel so sorry about this.
let me ask you an opposite sort of question. Today in Delhi, on the 15th of July, the Maite Christian Churches Council is holding a protest at Jantar Mantar in the afternoon. They are alleging that 1.5 lakh Maite Christians in Manipur, and now I'm quoting, have been under attack by Kuki Christians, and hundreds of Maite Christians have been forced to take shelter in relief camps. Separately, I've been told by Maite students that Kukis are deliberately destroying Maite churches in the valley to give Maite Hindus a bad name. As a Kuki and a Christian, how do you respond to this?
Well, have you any evidence that the Kuki Christians are burning the Meitei Christian church? This is a false narrative. They're trying to create another narratives of saying that the Christian Kukis are not the Kukis, are not the Christians alone. The Meiteis are also Christians. Prior to this 3rd of May, they were under the grip of Rambai Tengol. The reverence has been attacked, and we feel so sorry. We are showing a solidarity to the reverence where Rambai Tengol has been giving a threat and warning, and they even vowed to bury him alive. So today, post 3rd May, they started saying Kukis, Christians are burning down the churches of Meitei Christians. This is totally a false narrative, which you can, if at all, if you can produce me one, I would agree it is not, because Meitei Christian Church is against the Kuki Christian Church. It doesn't have any make sense.
So you're saying that the Maite Christian churches in the valley that have been destroyed by organizations like Arambai Tengol, and I presume
Definitely,
would
right.
include Maite Lipon as well.
Definitely.
But
in nowhere you can point fingers to the Kuki community of burning Christian church, Meitei Christian church in Imphal Valley. This is purely the work of Arambai Tengol, who follows Sanama Hizim, because
but
they
let
want
me
to
tell you, this
back.
allegation is not made by Maite Hindus. The allegation is made by the Maite Christian Churches Council. They are fellow Christians, and they are the ones who are saying that their churches have been under attack by Kuki Christians. So it's Maite Christians accusing Kuki Christians. How do you explain that?
Because they are scared of Arambai Tengol. They're scared of Meitei Lipun. They're simple as that.
Maite Christians have fallen under the influence or are under pressure from Arambai Tengol and Maite Lipon. That's what you're saying?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, let's come back to the situation Kangpokpi. How frequently do you witness killings and firings in your area?
So far as my understanding is concerned, and I was there for quite long. So, in fact, I have been witnessing firings, and I was also there, present in my areas at the border between Imphal West and Kangpokpi district. So, but then I don't came across any sort of killing in my presence. And also, I witnesses in Sugunu areas on 4th of June about firings, arsonings, and bombings, and all those things. So far, I didn't witness killings in right in front of me.
This is very important. You haven't witnessed any killings yourself, but tell me, how frequent are the firings? Is it daily? Is it every second, third day? Do you have any sense of how frequent it is?
Well, I'll give you one example. A village called Luang Sanggol and Pai Leng, which falls under a Saikul subdivision of my own district, Kangpokpi, and which is a kilometer away from my village. The attack by the majority valley people, including Arambai Tingol, Meitei Lupun, and also in collusion with the state forces, they attacked this village six times within 2 days. Believe me, from early 4 a.m., they will attack and they'll hold for a moment. Then they will start another attack at the noon. Then they will hold for a moment. This I don't just give you just to impress the viewers. I am the witnesses of that attack in the evening and at the night. So that frequency, even at single day, they attack twice or thrice. So to that extent, the frequency of the attack has been occurred in my own village, in my own locality.
So you're saying that attacks are not just frequent, they are also repetitive.
Yes, repetitive.
What are living conditions like in Kangpokpi? Do you have constant electricity and water, or is there now irregular supply of both?
Well, about electricity, I think the supply so far is okay. And about the water scarcity, in fact, we have to manage through local arrangement, helping the local area committee used to help in supplying and providing all those needs and requirements.
So, in other words, electricity is okay, but you need local committees to supply water.
Water mainly to the town area like Kangpokpi and Modbung. But to the villages, I think we still have the natural water abundantly flowing down from the mountain.
So you're dependent in villages on natural water flowing from the mountain, not on the municipal supply.
Right.
Tell me, what about essential items like meat, vegetable, cooking gas? Are they easily available or are they running short? And what's happened to prices?
Yeah, well, Karan, if you come up about the essential commodities and essential items, the prices are shooting up because the availability is in question. So hardly it's not available, and all the commodities which has been provided has been given or has been taken, has been bought, purchased in a high price. The price is shooting up.
Are food supplies, meat, vegetables, coming from neighboring states like Mizoram? Or is Manipur able to provide enough food for all its people, whether they're in the valley or whether they're in the hills?
Well, Karan, you still expect a supply would come from Imphal? Never. We don't expect, and nobody will never come from Imphal. Now, all that depend, essential commodities, food supplies, everything come from Dimapur, and to the people of Churachandpur, Lamka, Churachandpur, recent, earlier, which we call it as Churachandpur. Now, we prefer to call it as Lamka. All those essential items comes from Mizoram. And of course, as in the hill areas, we also produce our own the vegetables and food items. So we solely depend in two ways. One is from our own kitchen, from our own plantation, our own farmings. and secondly is from the supply from people from Kangpokpi areas to the supplies from Senapati, Dimapur, and people from Lamka from the supplies of Mizoram. So in this way, we manage essential commodities in our areas.
But there is no supply of essential commodities, meat or vegetables from the Imphal Valley. Nothing at all.
Nothing at all, and not expect at all.
What happens when people fall ill and need hospitalization or they need to see doctors? I'm told that the 230-bed hospital in Churachandpur has lost 1/3 of its 74-member staff. They were mighty, they have left. And I'm also told that weekly visits by oncologists, by neurologists, by urologists from Imphal has completely stopped. Is all of that true?
So far as my knowledge is concerned about Churachandpur, Lamka, hospital districts and medical facilities, that's true. And also it's not about Lamka. It is also about the entire Kuki-dominated district. For instance, like a district called Kangpokpi, my own district, well, all those people, staff, medical staff belonging to the majority community has already left. And besides, Kangpokpi being a new district, a newly recognized full-fledged district, is lacking of different facilities, not just medical facilities. Every facility has been lacking behind in Kangpokpi district. Imagine there is no no medical kits available. We have to depend from outside sources, people from different cities belonging to our community, not belonging to from different community. They they collected it, medical kits from different sources, and we use it. We utilize it, those things.
In which case, what happens if a Kuki in Kangpokpi was to have a heart attack? Or if someone were to be grievously injured in a serious road accident, what would happen then?
And, you can come and see here in Guwahati itself, in other cities like Nagaland, Kohima, and even till Delhi or Mumbai, you can go and see the people, how they are struggling, how they run away from the district hospital of Kangpokpi or whatever they can be. So we have to approach in Kohima, Nagaland, Guwahati, Assam. So I would humbly appreciate the concern of the people of Nagaland, Assam, and other entire northeastern states.
So what you're saying is if a Kuki in Kangpokpi falls seriously in a heart attack or gets badly injured in a road accident, there is no possibility of treatment in the hill areas of Manipur. They have to go to neighboring states.
Yes, that's right. And Karan, well that we can no longer access any facilities and infrastructure from Imphal.
What is the impact of all of this on children? Are schools in any shape or form functioning, or have children lost out on months of education completely?
They're completely lost. The academic career has been lost. Our children's life is uncertain now. And imagine the government issued an order that the school needs to be open. Believe me, in practical, in ground reality, it doesn't work. Just believe me, Karan. Imagine a school children, a children whose house was burned, whose village was destroyed, whose property has been looted and burned down. Can you still believe they can continue for the studies? And at the same time, when all the schools, government establishments has become as a relief center, where will these children go for schools? Where would they learn? When all the teachers are traumatized and the salaries have not been paid, what can we expect from that situations? So the children's future is in darkness.
A report on the BBC website dated the 13th, that is just 2 days ago, says, and I'm quoting, Kuki children have begun playing war games with toy guns. It also says many students are now joining volunteer forces to protect their villages. Is that true?
I can provide you a very sorry state where a young kid, a girl child, a child girl, weeping and longing for to go home back and start his schooling in his own villages. but it doesn't. And about that, boys playing with toy guns and everything, it's not the only Kuki boys who's used to play with toy guns, even in different cities and different parts of the village. It happens. It's a normal thing. And coming to the other second part of the question, let me tell you, Karan, where there is no hope, where there is no institution, where there is no home, where there is no villages, will you think the boys, the student, the young ones will still go for any option? We have no option than to protect our villages, protect our mothers, to protect our sons and daughters, our aunties, our families, our properties, our ancestral land. We have to protect it. So they have no choice. They have no choice.
You're saying
they are not forced. They're not forced.
You're saying even teenage boys have been forced to become soldiers.
They are not forced, but they are compelled to. They volunteer themselves. They are not forced.
But they've lost their childhood.
I just spoke to...
But they've lost their childhood.
Karan, do we have any other option than to protect our life, to protect our property, to protect our land?
I know, understandably, and you've explained this yourself in the interview, that Kukis are scared of going to Imphal. They fear for their life if they do that. And this also means that you can't access the airport. So if Kukis want to leave Manipur, how do they do it?
From the people from Lamka, from different parts, we have only two ways, with two options. Either you go through Aizawl, Mizoram, or through Dimapur, Nagaland.
And those are long journeys. I'm told that Aizawl is 380 kilometers away. I'm told that Guwahati, where you had to come to do this interview because there is no Wi-Fi in Kangpokpi, Guwahati is a 10-hour drive.
Right. That's true, Karan. That's true.
So for Kukis, leaving Manipur has become a pretty arduous, difficult task. It's not just a question of driving to the airport, flying to Delhi. You have to first travel 380 kilometers to Aizawl, maybe 10 hours to Guwahati, and then fly out.
Right. Karan, imagine a pregnant woman, like you said before, in the middle of the discussion, you talk about a serious health case. So believe me, a pregnant woman has to travel more than 400 kilometers, 300 kilometers, have to travel more than 10 hours, 15 hours. And it's a serious case, you have to travel, not just a normal travel like me. I travel from Kangpokpi to here. It's a normal thing. But for a person like a medical case, believe me, what hardship they might have been going through.
It's particularly difficult for a pregnant woman in labor. Traveling 380 kilometers to Aizawl at that point is neither easy nor advisable.
Yes, that's right, Karan. Not only the pregnant women, there are lots of old, aged people, and there are lots of people who have different cases of health which needs urgent attention. So for those people, it's very difficult. It's a hard task to travel long distance.
Now, something the audience will have noticed is that you have begun calling Churachandpur Lamka. Is that how all Kukis today think of Churachandpur? Have you, in your mind, changed the name forever?
That's the people's opinions, and that's the people's choice. Do I have any choice when the majority of the people wish to? In fact, the original name is Lamka. So we also call it as Songpi. So what, as of now, we prefer, and the people of Churachandpur, we call it Lamka. So prefer to call it Lamka, and they want it to totally give it away, the name Churachandpur, and call it Lamka.
And I'll explain to the audience that the reason why the Kukis do not like the name Churachandpur is because that is named after a Maite king, Churachand, and you do not wish to have any further association with the Maites, which is why you've changed the name from Churachandpur to Lamka. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. And we don't also require assertion of dominance also. Churachand itself is a kind of assertion of dominance. So we don't want that. Let it remain Lamka. There is no problem at all.
All right, Dr. Haukip, let's at this point come to the second big issue I want to raise with you. It's the question of what steps do ordinary Kuki people believe are necessary to start resolving the crisis and help them get back to a normal life? First of all, from your personal point of view, how essential is it to dismiss Biren Singh and impose president's rule?
Current, well, to my personal concern and to my personal understanding, it is not we have to ask to dismiss Mr. Biren. It is he himself who has to take a moral responsibility and leave his chair. It is not we are going to ask him to, someone authority higher than them, higher than him to dismiss Biren, but Biren himself should know his own responsibility on this ethnic violence and leave his chair. And in fact,
about 10 days ago, he said he was going to resign. And then because of a large gathering of Maite women outside his house demanding that he change his mind, he willingly and happily did change his mind. Many people think that was just a drama staged for the media. Do you feel disappointed?
Yeah.
Do you feel disappointed that the central government has not removed him?
Well, Karan, there is no question of I feel disappointed or the Kukis are disappointed or not disappointed. It's all about it's a stage-managed melodrama played by Mr. Biren. We have known him for long. This is not the first time Biren is playing such drama. So we don't expect that he's going to resign by the pressure of the government or by the pressure of the people. But like I said before, just before, it's his own responsibility of this ethnic violence.
But Dr. Haukip, he's not owning responsibility. Yes. So do you expect Mr. Modi or Mr. Amit Shah to dismiss him?
So far, I don't expect. Karan, why did he don't own responsibility? Why? You know why? You could have told me. You must be knowing the reason why he don't own responsibility and why Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah don't remove him from his chair.
What is it that you're suggesting or hinting?
That's an intention.
What are you suggesting or hinting at?
Karan, well, Karan, let me tell you. This is I should say, this is to my opinion, this is very clear. The intention of the government is very clear. The intention is let the ethnic violence continue. The arrogant nature of Mr. Biren and the silence of Mr. Modi unequivocally prove that the government intention is let the ethnic violence continues, let the people suffer. Because for them, the sufferings of the people doesn't matter. For them, power and politics matter. Power, election matters. Believe me, as and when election comes, as and when 2024 approach, they will do. Believe me, just mark my word. They're going to start political lands.
Dr. Haukip, are you suggesting, because at times it does sound like that, are you suggesting that the central government, and not just Biren Singh, but the central government are also anti-Kuki?
I would say that. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't outrightly say that, but the nature and the silence of the Prime Minister of India.
Finish your sentence. Finish your sentence. Don't leave it half finished.
Oh, well, it's not that we say the central government is anti-Kuki, but it's all about the politics the party is playing about. Like I said, mark my word, come 2024 in the parliamentary election, this political party will come again and promise the people of Manipur, including the Kukis, that your political solution, your political problem will be solved in such and such years and tenors and situations. So let 2024 comes, the picture will be clear.
Secondly, are you satisfied by the functioning of the army and the paramilitary? There are said to be some 36,000 additional soldiers in Manipur. Do you believe they are acting impartially and fairly? or do you, like the Meitei, believe they're taking sides? It's no secret that the Meitei doesn't believe they're impartial. How do the Kuki view the presence of the army and the paramilitary?
Well, Karan, it's interesting to talk about it. Well, first and foremost, every human beings are not perfect. Armies, however, they may train and well equipped, they are not perfect as a human. So far as your question is concerned, the armies are acting impartially and fairly, to my understanding. But two things, I should say this, two things. Post 1 month of the violence, there were lots of people, I mean, belonging to the majority community who command the Assam Rifles and paramilitary forces. And there was a narrative saying that from the Kuki communities that these forces are acting against the Kukis and they are siding with the Métis. In fact, I should say, like I said, they are human. In order to save the lives of the innocent people, in order to save on both sides, they have to act when situation demands and requires. Now, after few days, after 10, 20 days, the narrative has been changed because as and when you have seen very clearly in Khamenlok areas and other parts of the state, where as and when the army is trying to do their duty, the women called Meira Paibis block them.
Forgive me,
So
I
the
have to point
situation
out,
is
in fairness,
yes.
that there are equal accusations of Kuki women also blocking paramilitary forces from doing their jobs. That accusation has been made from both sides. We must be fair. We mustn't load the dice in one direction. But I note that
Karan, no.
no, but hang on. I'm not quarreling with you. I'm not quarreling with you. I'm simply pointing out the allegation has been made about Kuki women as well. But the main point you said is you believe the army are impartial and acting fairly. Is that what you believe to be the case?
Yes, that's right. Army so far are acting impartially and fairly, and they are doing their duties.
Okay.
And in fact, the accusation made by the Valley people that Kuki women are also blocking, are also making problems for armies to take their own duty, to execute their duties. That is false narratives. Show me anyone where the Kuki women are blocking and making a problem with the armies from acting their duties.
On Thursday, the 13th, again, that's just 2 days ago, the Kuki Inpi,
Yes.
which is the apex body of the Kuki tribes, issued a press communique demanding a separate state. This is a marked change from the position the Kuki Impi took on Monday the 10th, just 3 days earlier, when the organization said that they were open to considering a separate state, a union territory, or even autonomous territorial councils in response to their demand for a separate administration. Now, the Kuki Inpi have made clear they only want a separate state. Where do you personally, speaking for yourself, stand on this issue? Is a separate state
Correct.
the only solution?
We have already been separated, like we said in the earlier part. We have already been separated. We are forced to be separated. And the statement made by the Kuki NP is not a new thing. And it's not a new thing. And well, about that statement, let me go a little bit deep to that point. So, well, even if the Kukis NP made a statement declaring and demanding purely on only for state under Article 3, that's very true, and it has to be. But since the Kuki NP are not part of the political dialogue in the tripartite talks with the center and the state government, suspension of operation people involved in this political dialogue. And Karan, you have to make it these differences very, very clear that the SO suspension of operation people, this dialogue is based on not giving any disturbance to the territorial integrity of Manipur. Now, because of such situations is coming up, that the people, as of now, led by the Kuki NP Manipur, not only Kuki NP Manipur, but we have different tribal organization which comes under Jo community, Kuki Jo community. So there are two approaches we have, but so far as the government is concerned, the Kuki civil society are not consulted about the demand But as far as the statement made by the Kuki MP is concerned, I think this is not a new thing.
But tell me this, do you personally believe that a separate state is the only solution?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, the problem is the Meitei are adamant that a separate state cannot be granted because it will divide Manipur. And although the central government has not revealed its stand on this demand for a separate state, Biren Singh has claimed that Amit Shah has assured him that Manipur will remain intact. How do you propose to convince people like Amit Shah and Narendra Modi that a separate state is the only solution?
Well, current all the facilities in Imphal we no longer access. And in no way, nobody can give us assurance that we can again access to all those facilities. Or government employees cannot go back. Our MLAs, our ministers, or bureaucrats, students, all the Kukis from top to bottom can no longer go back to Imphal. And all our houses are looted, burned. We are separated, not by us, the majority people separated by force. We are compelled to leave. We are forced to leave. We are driven out. So believe me, all the facilities, as and when we cannot access, we need some separation. We need another administration in the hills. We need another schools, education department in the hills. We need another health department in the hills. We need another PWD department in the hills because we no longer access all those departments from the valley. So ultimately,
the problem, Dr. Haukip, is that it's not just the central government that could be opposed. We don't know for sure, but if Biren Singh and Meitei MLAs are to be believed, it's possible that the central government is opposed to granting a separate state. But that's not the only problem. Your own party that you have stood as a candidate for in 2 Manipur elections, the Congress party, has expressed great concern about the situation in Manipur. Rahul Gandhi has visited. He's been both to Churachandpur as well as to Imphal. But the Congress is completely silent on the issue of a separate state. Are you disappointed by Congress's lack of response on this issue?
Mr. Karan, before responding to the present question, let me come back. Let me get some clarification on that. Rahul Gandhi is a very renowned person to the entire India, not just India, but to the world. His visit to Manipur is not political, in fact. His visit to Manipur is just to console, just to feel the pains and sufferings of the people. In no way this cannot be made as a political narrative.
But no one was. Dr. Haukip, I wasn't making Rahul Gandhi political at all. My question was different. My question is, not only does it seem that the central government is opposed to the idea of a separate state for the Kukis, Congress has not supported it. It hasn't spoken on the subject. It's silent. And you have been a Congress candidate, I believe, in 2 separate Manipuri elections. So this is your party. Are you disappointed that your own party is not saying anything on the separate statehood demand? That's the question.
Well, Karan, this is not the case of disappointment or disagreement or agreement. Well, had I been an elected Congress MLA from the Kuki community, I could have said, I have some points in a meeting because the Congress party in Manipur itself is represented by only the majority people. I mean, the 5 congressmen, the 5 Congress MLA belongs to the Meitei community. All of them are respected people. All of them are nice people. But believe me, had the situation been different, had some tribals or the Kuki Congress MLA have been elected, the situation would be different. The situation would be different. So wider consultation could happen. Wider consultation could take place. But this is not the question of disappointment. Of course, if I said this, since I'm not a Congress MLA, I'm just a worker, a lawyer to a Congress party, I should say taking such a decision is a kind of a disappointment. But had I been there, had I been as represented as a Congress MLA from Kuki community, there could be any further wider consultation among the Congress MLAs also.
My last question, Dr. Haukip. It seems to me that if separate statehood is to be ever achieved by the Kuki people, you need to create widespread political support. You need to get other political parties, not just BJP in Congress, but all the regional parties, Mamata Banerjee, the DMK, the left parties, all of them need to come together and support this issue. That could put pressure on the government. Have you therefore considered sending Kuki delegations, perhaps under the auspices of the Kuki INPI, to meet the different political parties and to explain to them why you think separate statehood is the only solution? Have you considered doing that, reaching out to all the parties one by one?
That's the need of the hour, Karan. That's the need of the hour, Karan.
Does that mean you will consider doing this?
Yes, we have to approach it. We have to talk to different political parties. The need and the must of separate administration for the Kukis.
Dr. Haukip, thank you very much for the time you've given me. Thank you for
Karan,
bringing home in graphic detail what life is like
Karan,
for your fellow Kukis in Kangpokpi. And thank you for traveling all the way to Guwahati for this interview.
Karan, can I have a word, please?
Go ahead.
Well, Karan, to all the viewers, and including you, Karan, let me clear two, 3 points. First, the narratives of narco-terrorists or war on drugs by Mr. Biren and the majority people. First and foremost, the so-called suspension of operation, the Kuki militant groups. At the time of election, they were nationalists. And after the election, today they call it narco-terrorists. What exactly is the relationship between these SO groups and the state government, the BJP government? And
what are you suggesting? Hang on a second. What are you suggesting when you ask that question? What is the relationship between the SO groups and the BJP government? The SO groups are Kuki groups, 25 of them. So what are you suggesting?
Yes.
What are you suggesting?
I'm saying at the time of election, they are nationalists. And post-election, when they come to power, when the BJP come to power, these SO groups, whom they call it a nationalist, now become a narco-terrorist out of nowhere. Where do they find so as the proof that calling them as a narco-terrorist? Do we have any proof? So as a proof. And second thing, war on drugs. Current, have there been any single case that has been given up for investigation? Had we had any single investigation, we could have.
What are we talking about? Any single case of what? What are you talking about?
Any single case has been handed over for investigation.
But any single case of what? Are you talking about forest encroachment, or are you talking about narco-terrorism?
The drug case, the drug case, the drug case, the drug case, as well as narco-terrorism. Any single case has been handed over to any central agencies for investigation, so that as and when such investigation has been ordered, we will certainly come to know what exactly is war on drugs, who all are involved, right? We will come to know that.
Okay, I will leave it there because I think it is important that as a Kuki, you express your anguish both about the way the politics of the central government is treating the SSO organizations, as well as how you view the charges of narco-terrorism made against your community. It's only fair that you should express your anguish. But I'll end this interview there because my purpose in this interview was to actually get some sense, first from the Kukis, hopefully next week from the Maite, on what are the conditions like for ordinary people? How are they suffering? How are they managing? And also, what do ordinary people want done so that they can once again hope to live normal lives? That was our key focus. And I thank you for giving me time to address those issues, and in particular, for traveling 10 hours to Guwahati to do this interview. Take care. Stay safe.
Looking forward to for more talks.
Goodbye. Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on The Wire.
During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.